Ladies and gentlemen, you know, sometimes we walk this earth forgetting who we are, forgetting what we're made of. But I'm here to remind you, some women are not walking alone. Some women are protected by angels. Yeah, you heard me. Now, I ain't talking about wings and harps and halos. I'm talking about a divine shield around a woman who knows who she is. A woman who moves different, stands different, loves different. There are 5 types. 5. There's the woman with a pure heart. She's not loud. She's not flashy. But when she enters the room, peace follows her. She don't curse your name. She prays for your soul. You feel that? That's not weakness. That's power. Angels surround that kind of soul. Then there's the woman who prays. Not just when things go bad. She talks to God like he's her friend, like he's her partner. She walks by faith, not sight. People think she's nah, but nah. She's got the whole universe backing her up. That's why she walks so calm, because angels go ahead of her. And what about the woman who serves? The one who gives and gives and gives. She ain't after applause. She ain't after credit. She's after purpose. Destiny. She's the kind of woman angels rush to help because she's on a mission bigger than herself. Then there's the woman who stands for truth. She's been through hell. She's seen betrayal, pain, disrespect, but she still stands up straight. She still speaks truth. She still protects the weak. That's not just bravery. That's divine. And when she speaks, even angels listen. And finally, there's the humble woman. Don't get it twisted. Humility ain't weakness. It's power under control. This woman can change a room without raising her voice. She doesn't need to prove herself because heaven already approved her. Angels don't just protect her. They honor her. Now I ask you, are you one of them? Are you the kind of woman who heaven watches over? Are you walking like you know you're never alone? Because let me tell you, this world will try to tell you who to be. Social media will tell you to be loud, bitter, vengeful. But heaven protects a different kind of woman. So be her. Be the kind of woman who makes angels say, that one, we got her, no matter what. Because when you walk like her, the storms may come, but they won't break you. You won't just survive, you'll rise. A woman with a pure heart is rare in a world that constantly tests kindness. Her strength doesn't come from dominance or loudness. It comes from a quiet, unwavering goodness. She doesn't harbor bitterness even when life gives her every reason to. She forgives when others would choose revenge. Her heart remains open even after it's been broken. This kind of woman is not naive. She sees the flaws, the lies, the betrayals, but chooses not to let them poison her spirit. She doesn't carry gossip on her lips or jealousy in her eyes. When others succeed, she celebrates. When others fall, she offers a hand, not a judgment. People feel safe around her because there's no hidden agenda, no manipulation, no mask. What she says, she means. What she gives freely. Her love is not a performance. It's a refuge. She radiates a peace that can't be faked because it comes from a place of deep alignment with something greater than herself. Children are drawn to her. Strangers trust her. Even animals seem to sense her presence. That's not coincidence. That's purity. She doesn't need to announce her goodness. It shows in how she speaks to those who can do nothing for her. It's in how she treats the waitress, the cleaner, the beggar. It's in how she stands up for others, even when it costs her something. This kind of purity isn't perfection. It's intention. It's the constant choice to stay kind when life gets cruel. Her heart might get tired, but it never turns cold. She moves through the world gently, but her impact is profound. She's not just admired, she's protected. Because a pure heart is not only beautiful, it's sacred. A woman who prays and has faith carries a power that can't be measured in worldly terms. She may not be the loudest in the room, but her presence commands attention. Not from noise, but from the quiet authority of trust in something greater than herself. She doesn't crumble when chaos hits. She kneels. She lifts her voice not to the world, but to the heavens. And when she rises, she's stronger than before. Not because the problem disappeared, but because her spirit was renewed in the fire. Prayer is not a ritual to her. It's survival. It's how she breathes. It's how she aligns her life with purpose when everything around her feels uncertain. Faith is her foundation. Not blind optimism, not wishful thinking, but a grounded belief that even in the unknown, she is guided. She doesn't need to have all the answers. She just needs to know the one who does. And she does. So when others panic, she prays. When others doubt, she believes. Her faith isn't just for Sunday mornings. It's in how she walks through her week. It's in her patience, her discipline, her courage to speak life, even when surrounded by death. She's not moved by trends, public opinion, or fear. She's anchored. This woman prays not just for herself, but for others too, for family, for friends, even for those who've hurt her. She intercedes in silence, sometimes through tears, but always with a heart full of hope. She's the one people call when life gets hard because they know her prayers reach far. She doesn't need validation because her confidence comes from within. And no matter what storm she's facing, she walks forward with her head high, not because the path is easy, but because she knows she's never walking alone. A woman who serves others selflessly carries a quiet kind of greatness. She doesn't wait for recognition or applause. Her acts of kindness are not for display. They're a reflection of who she is at her core. She gives because it's in her nature. Whether it's a meal prepared with love, a late night call to check on someone, or the way she shows up even when she's tired, she serves without expecting anything in return. She doesn't keep score. She doesn't broadcast her sacrifices. In fact, most of the time, the people she helps have no idea what it cost her. Her strength is in the way she puts others before herself, not out of weakness or a lack of boundaries, but out of love. She understands that real service is sacred. She notices the needs others overlook. She remembers the small things, the details that make people feel seen, valued, and cared for. She may be a mother, a friend, a mentor, a neighbor. But in whatever role she plays, she brings healing with her presence. She gives not from overflow, but sometimes from lack, because she knows that lifting someone else up is worth the effort. And when her kindness goes unthanked or unnoticed, she doesn't grow bitter. She keeps serving because her purpose isn't tied to praise. It's tied to impact. She understands that to serve is to lead in the most powerful way, not from a stage, but from the heart. She carries a divine light that speaks louder than any words could. The world may try to take from her, but it can't dim what lives inside her. She isn't chasing status or position. She's building a legacy of love, one act of service at a time. And that kind of woman moves heaven without even trying. A woman who fights for righteousness is not afraid to stand alone. She doesn't follow the crowd. She questions it. She sees through injustice, deceit, and manipulation, and she doesn't stay silent. She speaks up even when her voice shakes, even when it costs her relationships, comfort, or opportunities. Her loyalty is not to popularity, it's to truth. She has a fire in her that refuses to let wrong go unchecked. She's not driven by ego, but by conviction. And her battles aren't always loud. Sometimes she fights quietly, through choices, through character, through unshakable integrity. She doesn't just point fingers. She leads by example. When it would be easier to turn away, to look out for herself, she steps in. She defends the voiceless. She stands up for what's right even when no one else does. And when people question her, challenge her, or mock her, she doesn't waver. She's not here to please the world. She's here to change it. Her strength comes from something deeper than pride. It comes from a soul aligned with truth, with justice, with something eternal. She doesn't seek revenge. She seeks justice. She knows the difference. She doesn't use righteousness as a weapon, but as a shield. She doesn't act out of anger, but out of a desire to protect what's sacred. Dignity, honesty, humanity. Her presence alone is a reminder that doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. She teaches others to rise, to speak, to act, not just for themselves, but for those who can't. And even when she's tired, even when she's outnumbered, she keeps going. Because deep down, she knows that truth always wins. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it wins. And until it does, she won't stop fighting, because that's who she is. A woman who walks in humility doesn't need to be the center of attention to feel valued. She carries herself with quiet confidence, not arrogance. She knows her worth, but she doesn't flaunt it. She doesn't boast about her accomplishments, though they're many. She lets her actions speak louder than her words. She's not in competition with anyone. She's too focused on becoming the best version of herself. She listens more than she talks. She learns from everyone, regardless of status. She's the kind of woman who can stand in a room full of applause and still keep her feet on the ground. Her humility is not weakness. It's controlled strength. It's grace under pressure. She can lead, teach, build, and influence, but she never lets her position cloud her character. She treats the janitor the same way she treats the CEO, because she doesn't measure people by titles, but by their humanity. She's quick to credit others and slow to take praise for herself. When she's right, she doesn't gloat. When she's wrong, she owns it. That's her power. She doesn't fake perfection. She embraces growth. She's not easily offended because her ego isn't fragile. She forgives without holding grudges, helps without needing recognition, and gives without expecting return. She knows who she is, and because of that, she doesn't need to prove it to anyone. Her humility allows her to rise, not by stepping on others, but by lifting them. People trust her not just because of her words, but because of her spirit. She's approachable, relatable, and real. Her presence brings calm, not chaos. Her wisdom is wrapped in gentleness, and her strength is anchored in self-awareness. The world may overlook her, but heaven never does. She moves with grace, not for show, but because that's just who she is. A woman who heals others carries a light that reaches far beyond words. She's not a doctor necessarily, though she might be. She's not always trained in therapy or medicine, but her spirit knows how to mend what's been broken. Her presence is medicine. Her voice calms storms. Her touch, her smile, her very energy can ease pain others don't even know how to name. She has a way of making people feel safe to be vulnerable. She listens without judgment. She doesn't rush your healing. She sits with you in silence if that's what you need. She holds space for your grief, your doubt, your fear. And somehow, just by being there, she helps you breathe again. She doesn't carry a sign that says she's strong, but her strength shows up in her consistency, in her compassion, in her ability to pour out love, even when she's running low herself. She's the one people turn to when their world falls apart, because she knows how to stay steady when everything else is shaking. She gives encouragement that sticks to the soul, not empty words, but real ones. She doesn't offer quick fixes. She offers presence, patience, and care. Her healing doesn't come from trying to be perfect. It comes from the fact that she's been broken too. She knows what pain feels like. She knows how to walk through darkness. And because she's found her way through, she lights the path for others, sometimes without even realizing it. She heals not because she's untouched by suffering, but because she chose to let her suffering become a source of strength. And in a world that often overlooks emotional wounds, she becomes a quiet warrior, restoring others not with force, but with love that's deep, intentional, and real. A woman who forgives deeply carries a heart that has been wounded and tested, yet still chooses grace over resentment. She has been hurt, maybe by the one she loved the most, but she refuses to let that pain define her. She doesn't minimize what was done to her, and she doesn't forget. But she releases the grip that bitterness tries to hold. Forgiveness for her is not a weakness. It is an act of fierce strength. It means choosing peace over poison, freedom over chains. She knows that holding on to anger might feel like power, but in the end, it only weighs her down. So she lets go, not because they always deserve it, but because she does. Her forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation every time. She knows the difference between letting go and letting people back in. She creates boundaries with wisdom, but her heart stays open. She doesn't speak ill of those who wronged her, not because she forgot, but because she refuses to become like them. Her dignity is her armor. She walks through life with a soul unburdened because she's done the hard work of healing. It takes courage to face the pain, to relive it long enough to release it. And yet she does. Quietly, bravely. Not for approval, not for applause, but for her own wholeness. She knows that healing doesn't come from revenge, but from choosing to rise above the pain. Her forgiveness creates space for joy to return, for love to flow freely again. She becomes a safe place for others, not because her life has been easy, but because she's chosen not to let it harden her. She understands that to forgive is not to forget what happened, but to reclaim her power from it. And in doing so, she becomes truly unbreakable. A woman who carries burdens silently is often the one no one suspects is struggling. She smiles through storms, shows up when it's hard, and keeps moving forward even when the weight on her shoulders feels unbearable. She's not one to complain, not because she doesn't feel pain, but because she's learned how to carry it without letting it consume her. She knows that life doesn't always give you the luxury of falling apart. So she holds herself together, not for applause, but because someone has to, because others depend on her, because giving up was never an option. She doesn't broadcast her battles. She hides her tears behind strength. When she's hurting, she often says she's fine, not because she wants to lie, but because she doesn't want to burden anyone else. She's the one people lean on even when she's barely standing. She listens to others' problems while silently wrestling with her own. Her resilience is quiet, but it runs deep. Her strength is not loud, but it's unshakable. She may cry when no one's watching, pray in silence, and face sleepless nights with thoughts she can't share. Yet, every morning she rises. She puts on her armor of grace, her cloak of patience, and walks into the day as if she's not breaking inside. It takes a rare kind of courage to fight battles no one sees. And though she may feel invisible, though her struggle may go unnoticed, there is power in the way she endures, in the way she keeps loving, giving, and showing up. She may be quiet, but she is fierce. Her silence doesn't mean weakness. It means discipline, dignity, and depth. She is proof that not all warriors wear armor. Some wear smiles, carry the weight of the world, and keep going anyway. A woman who uplifts other women is a force of unity in a world that often pits women against each other. She sees another woman's success as an inspiration, not a threat. Her belief in sisterhood is unwavering, and she understands that lifting others doesn't diminish her own light. It magnifies it. She celebrates the achievements of others, whether big or small, with genuine joy. When one of her sisters falls, she doesn't judge. She extends a hand, offers a word of encouragement, and helps her stand again. She knows that a rising tide lifts all boats, and by supporting others, she too rises. She is the one who offers mentorship without jealousy, who gives advice without trying to take credit, who leads by example rather than by domination. She doesn't compete. She collaborates. Her heart is big enough to make space for everyone's victories because she knows that when one woman succeeds, it's a triumph for all women. She creates spaces where other women can shine, where their voices are heard, and where their dreams are nurtured. She doesn't tear others down to build herself up. She builds others up, and in doing so, strengthens her own foundation. Her kindness is contagious, and she inspires others to do the same. She knows that no woman's journey is the same, and that each one deserves respect, encouragement, and a safe space to grow. She's not motivated by the need to be the best in the room, but by the desire to ensure that every woman has a chance to thrive. Her power is in her ability to bring people together, to remind women that they are enough, and that together they are unstoppable. Through her actions, she creates a world where women don't just survive, they thrive. A woman who keeps her integrity is unwavering in a world full of compromises. She knows who she is and stands by her values, even when it's difficult or unpopular. She doesn't bend to the pressure of the moment or the temptation of convenience. Her word is her bond, and her actions align with her beliefs. When everyone else around her might be cutting corners, she chooses the harder path, the one that requires honesty, accountability, and courage. She doesn't seek shortcuts to success because she understands that true growth is built on a foundation of integrity, not deceit. She doesn't need external validation to feel secure in her choices. She knows that doing what's right is often the harder choice, but it's the only choice that truly brings peace. Even when no one is watching, she remains true to her principles. She doesn't seek the spotlight, but she shines regardless because her integrity radiates from within. People trust her not because she's perfect, but because they know she is honest and reliable. When she makes a promise, she delivers. When she makes a mistake, she owns it. Her authenticity doesn't just earn respect. It commands it. This woman doesn't play games or engage in manipulation. She doesn't gossip or spread lies for the sake of entertainment. She treats others with the same respect. She gives herself. Her integrity shows up in the small moments, in how she interacts with others, how she handles responsibility, and how she manages adversity. It's not just about doing the right thing when people are watching. It's about choosing the right thing even when no one will ever know. And in a world full of empty promises and shifting truths, a woman who keeps her integrity is a beacon of stability and strength. In a world filled with challenges, distractions, and temptations, there are women who stand as pillars of strength, resilience, and grace. They are the ones protected by angels, not because they are perfect, but because they live with purpose, with love, and with unwavering conviction. These women, those with pure hearts, who pray and have faith, who serve others selflessly, who fight for righteousness, who walk in humility, who heal, who forgive deeply, who carry burdens silently, who uplift other women, and who keep their integrity, are the quiet warriors of this world. Their strength isn't always loud, but it is always felt. Their power lies not in what they do for recognition, but in what they do for the good of others. These women show us what it means to live with heart, with humility, and with unshakable faith in both themselves and the greater good. They don't seek to be seen, they seek to make a difference. And in that difference, they change lives. They are proof that when you walk with purpose and align with your values, nothing, no matter the obstacles, can take away the light you carry within. So the question remains, are you one of them? Are you walking the path of grace, strength, and integrity, knowing that you too are protected, guided, and empowered by angels? The world needs more women like these, and it's time to step into that power